So, how are you?
I'm great, yeah, good. Thank you for having me. It's great to be
problem.
here.
So, this is Barber Jabber, by the way, 2.0.
2.0.
Back after Christmas.
Great to be back.
We're going to be doing these every week, but listen, you're our first guest, Ollie. How was Christmas?
Christmas was good, it was great, it was good to see small amounts of family, nice quiet one. It was my first one at home, so I did the Christmas dinner for the first time and it went bang on.
Really?
Yeah, I love cooking.
Do you?
I love cooking.
I never knew that about you.
Fact of the day.
I know you like kebabs, but I didn't know you like Christmas dinners. Right, so listen, we're going to talk about a lot of different things. We'll talk about where you started in barbering and where you are now, where you're going, but also a little bit about your life prior to barbering as well, because I know that's pretty interesting. I do hear little whispers along the grapevine. But, tell us a little bit about how you got started in the barbering industry.
Of course, well, I'll take you back even earlier.
Not too far.
Not too far.
I'm joking.
So, through school, growing up in a normal kind of life, really, I've always been really keen into sports, really keen into music. They've always been like my two goals of, everyone has that goal of I'm either going to be a footballer or a rock star, but they were my two paths that I always enjoyed the most. Going to school, loved school. School was always a very, very fun time for me. I loved it, loved the teachers, loved the learning. Didn't like the homework, obviously, but no, I love school. It was great.
Were you a SWAT? Were you like a SWATy kid?
I kind of lurked in between every single friendship group, if you like. So maybe on like a Monday, Tuesday, I'd be there because I had long hair, and I used to hang around in the music corridor with my guitar, and then maybe the rest of the week I'd be out with the lads playing football on the field. So not that I didn't build strong friendships, because I did, but I was never put into one group. I was always kind of on the tip of a lot of different friendship groups, if you like.
Were you in the showbiz group? You were with the guitar? Did you all like the school plays and stuff like that?
Of course, in the school I did High School Musical, Susical the Musical, Guys and Dolls, did them all. Guys and Dolls. Yeah,
I can only imagine.
But no.
Were you quite clever at school though? Were you quite academic as well?
I wasn't to the point where it came naturally. I did have to work for it. I mean, thanks so much to lovely Ollie Foster, my mum, who put me on tutors. She gave me everything she possibly could.
Riddling? Did she put you on riddling?
Riddling. No, she gave me everything she could to give me the best education possible. I did have to work for it. It wasn't something that came naturally, but I did come out of school with good grades. So leaving school, 16, my mum had a barber shop literally 500 metres up from the high school, so it was always on the way back. I was like, oh, your mum owns the barber shop locally, and yeah, I suppose it was kind of like. I remember her saying throughout the whole time I was at school, you can get your hair cut every week or every 2 weeks, but it just wasn't cool. I remember getting my hair cut and people would laugh at you when you had your hair cut. Not that it was bad, or it was you either had long hair and you didn't get it cut, or you just consistently had short hair.
When I first started in this industry, I started with 2 love bites and a perm at the back. I had that Terry McDermott, Kerry Keegan.
Style,
that was the thing at the time. So I started. I think I had blonde highlights.
Yeah.
And then I had the perm at the back.
I love it. I mean, I'd love to have a proper mullety kind of.
Oh, it was a proper. It was almost Dukes of Hazzard, but not quite.
I love it.
It was more of a Scouse vibe to it. It was a bit like a Terry McDermott vibe.
Corner of Probe Records.
So you were at school and you did well in your grades. Where did you go after school? Did you go straight into barbering, or did you have a different path?
So I really wanted to make sure that I was following each path correctly. So the goal was university. So it was straight into sixth form. I left my high school and I went to a sixth form college, which was probably around about 30 miles away in Northwich. I used to get the bus there every morning. It was awesome. There was a small group.
Is that where you got bullied?
Started already. So I went up there and then I picked my subjects. I did physics, PE, which was no sport, music technology, and what was the other? And performing arts.
Right. Jazz hands.
But physics wasn't for me straight away, and I knew that. It was too hard. I loved it at school, but it was just too hard. So I dropped that and started media. And I didn't really know where I wanted to go. I knew I had a keen interest in football at this point. I really wasn't pursuing the band as much as I possibly could have been. And I ended up working towards playing for the England schoolboys under 18s, getting 2 caps for playing in goal. That's why my fingers all look like that.
So you're playing football quite a lot?
Playing football, so I was playing for Chester FC. Right. I'd had a brief spell at Man United. Came back, played for Chester.
Man United schoolgirls?
Schoolgirls.
Or the Man United?
The Man United.
Very good.
Between 16, well I was kind of there 16, just kind of touching getting in, but I didn't quite get into the team. So I played for Chester between 16 and 18, and managed to gain 2 caps at England under 18 schoolboys, which was an amazing experience, absolutely amazing. Now I know this is going to sound really cliche. I have Osgood Schlatters in my left knee, and I know every footballer has a knee story, but it wasn't so bad to stop me playing. I was still playing, and I can still play now. But when you're kicking a dead ball as a keeper all the time, it puts a lot of pressure on your knee, and I could just see that it wasn't going to give me the longevity of a career, and maybe the prospect of making it and not making it. And I just hit 18. What happens when you hit 18? You start seeing the world for what it really is. You're out getting drunk with your mates. And I just seen that side of it, and I was in a band, obviously, and it was cool, and we had people come in, but I knew that everyone was going to eventually, most of them were a year younger than me. I was the oldest, and the other guitarist was my age, and he was like, I'm going to uni, that's it, I'm going. And then the singer, she was like, I'm going to stay local so we can carry this, and I was like, it's not going to take centre stage, if you like. So I'd gone out, and there was another band, and they were called Notion, Pete, Tom and Danny, and they were the best. They were the best. They were always...
Chester's finest?
They were the Wirral's finest.
Really?
Yeah, they were from Bevington.
Big time
Bev. We were from Chester, and I ended up texting Pete before we went out. I was like, do you fancy having a few beers tonight, kind of thing? He was like, yeah, I'm out. And I was just like, I'd love to make music with you, and blah, blah, blah. But
now that sounded a little bit funny, that one. So you phoned the guy up in the middle of the night and said, I want to make sweet music with you.
I want to make sweet music. No, anyway, we're in Heebie-Jeebies on Seal Street, and I was like, I'd love to come and jam with you guys. He was like, yeah, cool, come down. We're just starting a new band. If you like, it kind of been the prospect that they were going to do something new, and I knew they were a 3-piece, and I was like, I could be the 4th. The second guitarist, and it just kind of grew and grew and grew, and I was dreading telling the guys in the band, my band, that I was leaving to pursue this, and I ended up telling them it was disastrous, and because I was kind of almost like in that one, the nut that was holding it all together, it was my thing, I was pushing it, but then in stepping into this one, it was like fresh, new, exciting, and we took it as far as we could possibly take it. We had 2 EPs released. We played some amazing shows around the country, met some amazing people, and that, in my opinion, coming on, this is like kind of hobby style. I've missed a load of the story, but I'll talk to you about that in a minute. Out of my hobby style, that was the thing that took me, in my opinion, from being a kid to being an adult. Right. I've got quite a lot to be thankful for Pete for, really, because Pete's he's a leader, you know what I mean? He takes the room by, he can chat to anyone and he can make things happen. He's trained in law at uni, so he's very persuasive. He knows how to gain people on his side. And coming back into education, which is obviously what we do mostly, I found that period of my life really influenced the teaching side, if you like.
So just before you get even more on that, the football finished by this stage?
Yeah, so
the football was finished because the leg was no good.
Well, it was Chester had finished. They'd taken on the scholars, and I didn't want to be a scholar. I wanted to do the 6th form, and I wanted to, pursue that. It was a choice at the end of it. Are you going to be a football scholar and be sensible, or are you going to pick the sections and rock and roll?
Let me ask you, because I've got a few friends that played for Everton and Liverpool and stuff like that. Did that have any negative effect on you at all? Did you feel bad because you weren't, going to progress with that, or was that a good thing?
Not at all. I mean, I say everything that I've done, I've kind of taken to its maximum. The football I've taken pretty much to as close as you can get to full international level. The band, we played amazing shows. We've been in contact with so many amazing record labels, and not that I don't miss it, because I do, but other things always fill the void. Yeah. I mean, now we're doing this, and we're travelling the country, and we're educating, and we're on big stages. When you stood there doing it, you forget that. Yeah. Because you've got a new focus. So when I left football, it didn't bother me at all, really. So it wasn't like as if you were forced to quit. You just thought, choice. This is my choice. And what was the matter with your leg, by the way? Was it just something that was like a recurring injury? Or? Because I'm not that. I'm 6'2", but I shot up with your high heels on. With my high heels on. I shot up quite early when I was young. It's basically, you don't get growing pains on the way up. You get them when you hit the pinnacle. Right. So when I was maybe 17, 18, and I'd hit my 6'2", but I'd been 6 foot since I was maybe year year 9 in school. The pains, and you build liquid in your knee, basically. I've never actually been fully diagnosed with it, but do you know when you just know when you've done the research, and I can feel the liquid in there.
I know somebody else will have had this. Mark Shirley will have had this at least twice before he had smallpox. So that sort of ended that chapter of you playing the football and stuff.
Exactly.
Then you were focusing more on the band. So again, just to go on to that, I mean, you had reasonable success with the band, didn't you?
Oh,
really? So you had a single out, didn't you?
Yeah,
you keep forcing me to listen to it.
Yeah, I mean, there's 2 EPs there. They're on Spotify. One of the main song, if you like, that we released in the time that I was in the group was called Lust. Our band, by the way, is called Vince, Vynce.
Right.
It's all on Spotify, so if anyone wants to check it out or listen, please feel free. But yeah, it was class. It was just fun years, you know, where we didn't have a care in the world. I was doing, which I'll tell you about in a minute, I was doing a teaching job in primary schools.
Right.
And they were all in uni, and I was going out, student night in Liverpool, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
That sounds like a Craig David song.
I took her for a drink.
Go on.
But yeah, I was just living the life. I was earning great money doing this teaching job, whilst living this student life, whilst travelling the UK on weekends and midweeks, playing gigs to different people and experiencing different types of nights, I suppose, in different cultures.
Did you ever play any real shitholes though? Did you ever get the 20s, like 2 fellas there who've got 3 teeth between them?
Big time. The one that I do remember
is it
was bank holiday weekend, and we'd maybe in the space of that 3 days booked 9 gigs.
Right.
So it was like Saturday, you're in Colwyn Bay, and then it was all local, and then you do a different place the next day. I remember this day, it was Colwyn Bay, and then we drove to, I can't remember where we went to in between, but it was Colwyn Bay, and then somewhere else in Wales, and then we drove to Ellesmere Port.
Class.
And I know this particular place, playing football there over the years, and our style of music was very kind of poppy, indie, happy melodies, and we turned up at this festival, and it was a heavy metal festival, and we all turned there with our vibey shirts on like we used to dress, and our black skinny jeans, and everyone had hair down the face. It was like walking into a scene out of Wayne's World. Yeah. And we got up, played our set, and we were like, and you know, when the room just walks out, no one wanted to know who we were. We were like the headline, so everyone had been like, oh, Vince are coming. And then we got up and played and started playing all these happy songs. It was like, get up.
And what was the music like? Was it like sort of busted-y kind of?
No,
that kind of stuff?
No, we're kind of, if I was going to kind of put us into a bracket, have you ever heard of the 1975?
Yeah.
Catfish and the Bottlemen, kind of smash them together.
Tuna and the Bra Straps.
Tuna Fish and the Bra Straps. But no, kind of, if you kind of combined, you know, a lot of that, I mean, there's so many influences from everywhere. I mean, talking about music, you know, we speak about music all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a massive fan of the 80s, as I'm sure you are as well.
I like the 80s.
Slightly different parts of the 80s. I mean,
Yes.
I like Echo and the Bunnymen for me are everything. You know, I see them all around the country. I see them, I'm on the guest list. I must have seen them over 100 times.
Really?
I love them. It's just, for me, it's
Have
my
you still got
obsession.
a restraining order around you?
Oh yeah, big time, yeah. It's all on the hush-hush. But no, I've collected all their vinyls. That's a hobby of mine now. I love collecting records. Yeah. I've got probably about 500 records, and it's forever growing. I counted them up. I've got an app called Discogs on my phone, and I scrolled it this morning. I was like, right, how many are arriving? I went, God, I've still got 13 vinyls that are arriving in the house, and the postman now is like, more vinyls.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. Absolutely love it. But that was kind of like my hobby life, if you like. That was everything that I've kind of enjoyed alongside a career, because I didn't really know what I wanted as a career. I always knew I loved sport as a job. I always idolised my PE teacher. I used to, when I was in year 11, I used to go and say to him, like, I'll take the basketball for the year 7s.
And you sure you weren't getting bullied at this time?
I just disappeared. I mean, when I was in year 11, my thing was Tuesday, Wednesdays, I'd open up the sports hall, and I get the year 7 and 8, and they'd all play basketball, and I loved it, and it was great. And ended up, most of them had never played basketball before me. Ended up going and winning like the Cheshire school competition, and I was like, no way, this is really, really good.
They could write like the new Mighty Ducks programme about you, couldn't they?
Imagine. But then kind of after that, there was a lady in school called Judith Gilmore, and there was an award alongside PE that you could do. So you had your GCSE PE, and then you had your mandatory PE that everyone had to do. And you either just did normal PE, which was like rounders on the field, or badminton, or whatever you were playing. And then you had another one called the JSLA Award, Junior Sports Leader. And I got put straight into that, and it was like basically being taught how to be a teacher, if you like. And you'd leave with a qualification of your choice. I think I picked basketball at the time because I loved it. And it was different to football because I think I'd already gone somewhere else and got my football level 1. But that was kind of that, and I left school 16 and just kind of forgot about it. Kind of thought at the end of when I was applying for unis before, obviously I was like, I don't want to go. The plan was to go to either John Moore's and do sports education or something like that. And then it was kind of like, oh no, I don't want to jump into something just yet. So as the time went on, and that kind of final year of sixth form came about, I'd kind of had a bit of a realisation to what I wanted to do. I wasn't that keen on going to university. I'd seen the debt, I'd seen the, what it was all about, the drinking, the partying, and I was like, I'm doing that anyway. So I kind of see university, a combination of reasons really, is one thing is for the quieter kids to really come out of themselves. I remember.
Had you come out by this time?
Don't be
coming out is, sorry, I got that wrong.
I remember going to our nightclub in Chester the first Christmas after our year had gone to uni, and all these girls that were quiet in our school year, if you like, that were just, if you like, the gimps, the quiet ones. They were all coming and like just trying to throw themselves all over us, and we were like, what is going on? You've not spoke in 10 years that I've known you. Now all of a sudden you're a party animal. But no, that was great fun. So as 18 hit, I ended up accidentally walking into Pro Hair Live with my mum. So she'd kind of had a small team, maybe 2 girls working for her at the time in the small village salon in Christleton. And they both cancelled on the day, and she was like, Ollie, I really want to go to this hair show in Manchester. And I'd kind of just gone from being long hair to a bit shorter, maybe like a 4 on the sides and a bit of a quiff. And I'd just gone short. I'd had like my first number 2 I'd had in years. I was like, yeah, go on, I'll come. So I got myself all dressed up. I remember I had a long duffel coat on, scarf, and she was like, yeah, cool, you'll see loads of girls there and it'll be great fun, and we'll have a few drinks.
I was probably there, I never knew you.
You probably were. I mean, I think I'd say the year was probably 2000 and it's February, isn't it? So it would have been 2015.
Right, yeah.
So I went, and I remember it was a comb, and there was a balancer on the bottom of the comb for scissor over comb. You've probably seen them. I'm sure there's one still one of my mum's drawers.
Well, it's like the flat top comb. That's like a flat top comb.
Exactly.
The balancing thing in it.
And this guy was like, yeah, let me show. He was trying to sell a comb, obviously, and I sat in his chair and I modelled for him for like 10 minutes or so, and I was like, this is amazing. And I stayed and I watched, and I went to the main stage, the what's it called, the Federation?
Where
they bring the juniors in. I was like, I want to do that, Mum. I really want to do that.
Was it like the little stage in the middle?
That's the one. It's always right in the middle. I can't remember the name of it now off the top of my head. It'll come to me. And I was like, Mum, I want to do it. The fellowship. I didn't know what it was. I went home and Googled it. And I was like, Mum, I want to be a hairdresser.
Funnily enough, my friend Bruno, who's the president of the fellowship...
It's not the film by Sacha Baron Cohen,
no, Bruno of that one. I'm actually going to be interviewing in a few weeks for the podcast. But anyway, go on. So you're watching that kind of stuff. I can imagine what it's like, because it's a brilliant stage. It's all nicely lit. They've got the TV cameras and all that stuff.
And there's
you.
Models, and I was
hello,
showbiz. I remember being in the drive on the way home, going past that Britannia hotel on the side of the Manchester 56. I was like, Mum, I want to do this. I want to get an apprenticeship. She was like, well, I'm not taking you on. I can't take you on. I think you're going to have to go and learn somewhere else. Not in a bad way, but she didn't want favouritism within the business, this, that and the other. So I went out and I handed out about maybe 10 CVs to 10 salons that I liked, if you like. And I got offered all 10 jobs. Not with pre-trial days or anything like that. I just walked in, CV, are you looking for an apprentice? Yeah, there's my CV. Everyone rang and was like, do you want the job? I think not at the time, but probably at the time before hair kind of had this new
Do you think having a disability like you've got, because you had a disability, do like equal opportunity?
Exactly. But I don't think they've had many 18-year-old boys.
Did you go my leg, I'm disabled from playing football?
I don't think they've had that many males, educated males, enter the shop and kind of go, this is what I want.
Hello, everybody. You might recognise me from musicals such as Oklahoma.
They've been brilliant. But the one that I ended up picking, I went for I narrowed it down to 2 before, and I went, I'll do trial days in each and I'll see how I get on. So there was one in Borton, which is right next to where my shop is now, like literally 50 metres down the road, and then there was one in Upton. I did the one in Upton first. I did the week. I remember Mum saying to me, "Do not stop working when you've cleaned everything."
Yeah, clean it again.
I remember at the end of day 1, the lady came up to me and was like, "I've never had anyone clean the shop like you've cleaned the shop." I was like, "I'm just what I do. I'm just working.
It's what I do."
Blagging it. I mean, I was picking out all these perm rods. Didn't know what perm rods were, and I was organising them. And she was like, "That's amazing." And she offered me the job day 1. I was kind of a bit like, "You're lenient." And this is when the band was starting. I just joined this band, and I was like, right, you're going to be nice and lenient. I'm going to be able to get out at 4 o'clock if I need to get in the car and get to wherever to do a gig or go to band practice. And I'd gone for the interview at the other place, and she was scary.
Yeah.
Oh, she was scary. Have you ever seen The Incredibles?
Right, the little one with
Bob. With Bob.
What was her name?
I don't know, darling.
Hello, darling.
Hello,
you
darling.
cannot have a cape.
Well, that's what I didn't even do the trial week there. I was like, right, Lynn, her name was. She was a great lady, and she was like, yeah, you can have the job. And I was like, brilliant. I'll start on Monday. I did it for about 6 months, and I loved it. The only problem was, and no disrespect to the business or anything like that, it was just they had a bit of an older clientele. The old
more
guy,
established, maybe more sort of
probably 50 plus, 50 plus, and me as a young man, I'd seen.
You wanted what you'd seen at Pro Hair Live.
Exactly. I was like, I want the gorgeous girls. I want the fashion. I was turning up in all these shirts, with the braces on, and I remember there was 2 guys that worked in there, and he just turned up in flip flops, and I was just looking around like, this is not what I wanted.
Yeah.
And kind of did it for 6 months, rolled with it. I didn't really see a spark. I didn't think, I'll pick the scissors up, and I was like, it wasn't like that. I didn't understand it at all. Probably did about 30 cuts.
Yeah.
Didn't really get it. Didn't understand it. I think maybe it was either the way I was being taught or my mentality towards it was more music. I don't know what it was.
Just wasn't right for you.
It wasn't right for me at the time. And I had a friend who was in the sports circle, if you like, and they used to take sport tours abroad. And like when high schools say, right, we're going to take your football team to Barcelona, you'll get to train with the team, go and watch your game, have a bite to eat, whatever. And he organised that, and it was brilliant. And he was like, I've got a little window here, if you want to come. And I pulled the world's worst sickie.
Did you?
Oh, do you know, like,
did you have like a week off and come back with a really bad suntan?
When I do like my acting, I probably planned it out. So day 1, I was like, and then by day 5, I was like, I can't speak.
You've been stretching into work. I've made it, everybody.
So anyway, and on that, I'd kind of blagged the Saturday off. I'd asked for it off, didn't get it off, and I went and played a gig with my band. So I think it was in Alsager, and we're doing 2 at Alsager, and I came back and we're doing another one at night. Could have been that Ellesmere Port one I was telling you about before. And the boss turned up at the house, knocked on the door, and I'm in the back garden with a couple of Budweisers in hand, and all the boys in the back garden. He was like, it's Ollie in, I just need him to sign something. I was like, get in the shed, boys. Now so all my mates dived in the shed. And then I was like, alright, Tom, you okay? Yeah, I'll be back in hopefully next week. I signed this.
Oh, you naughty boy.
So anyway, I signed his contract or whatever it was. I didn't even know, I just signed it. I was like, bye. And he went, and I went and did this trial week with this sport tours. And it wasn't what I feel like where I would have been best suited, but I loved it. It was different. I got to dress well. It was in a nice
those little shorts.
Those tight shorts, well, almost like a break.
White socks.
But it was just a computer job. But you had the perks of going and doing tours.
Right.
So you plan the tour, and then it would be like, right, this is my tour. I'm off to Madrid for 4 days. Right. Then you come back, well, you're always on your phone doing it, and then you're like, I'm off to Barcelona. Right. I mean, not that I managed to get that far into it because they realised...
That's Salisbury at Port, though.
I got all the way to Salisbury at Port. But fortunately, well, I say fortunately, they realised that they could get someone in from uni in the third year on a placement to do my job for free. So So I remember that day I was gutted. Tears were streaming down my face.
Wore black for a month.
Wore black for a month. And I remember I was buzzing. I'd only had like a couple of £100 out of him. He was like, right, that's £300. As an I'm sorry.
You're crying and going,
tears coming out. I've got £300. And so I'd left my hairdressing apprenticeship. I was like, I've left. Gutted. I've gone for this amazing job that I thought was going to be amazing. Looking back, it wouldn't have worked with the band. Couldn't have worked, but they gave me £300. And the first thing I did with that £300 was I went and put it in a roulette machine.
Oh, you didn't?
I put it all on black, and it came in red.
Oh no!
And I went straight into Mum. I was like, Mum, I've lost my job. They paid me £300, and I thought if I put it all in and I got it right, I had £600 and I had nothing. So I sat on the couch for months and months and months and months. Probably about 6 months doing nothing. Just
like watching David Dickinson.
Watching David Dickinson and Price is Right.
Yeah.
And then out of nowhere, Judith Gilmore from school messages me and she's like, how are you fixed for work? And I was like, I could do with a job.
Yeah.
And she kind of contacted me out of nowhere and was like, I've left Christleton High School. I'm now working on my own. We're going into primary schools delivering education. You don't need to be a teacher. You don't need a uni qualification. All you need is coaching qualifications, which you can go and buy. You just go on the course. Brilliant, get in. So I went and did that. And I remember turning up on my first day, just shadowing teachers that had been my teacher for years. And I was like, this is awesome. Great money. I kind of fell naturally into the position because I've done my JSLA award. I've been doing a bit with the band, so I've got quite a lot of confidence, and I've always been kind of naturally quite confident and a bit of a leader. So I fit into this job like no tomorrow. Normally,
so was that in Chester?
In Chester, yeah. So you just it was all self-employed. So she give you your schools, and then you just turn up at the schools and deliver the sessions. And I remember when I started, mate, I was so into it. I had my little blue folder with all my lesson plans, and as it kind of goes on, that kind of goes out the window. It all
sort of dissipates a little bit.
Yeah, and you're just like, right, we're doing circuits today, and you just set up circuits and go. I mean, that was just my lack of, wanting to do it, disappearing out the window. But for me, for 4 years, that job was brilliant.
Yeah.
Because it was giving me the money I needed to be able to sustain the band.
Yeah.
I could kind of say to Judith when I wanted to, like, I need to be I'm playing in London this weekend. I can't do Friday. She's like, all right, okay, because you kind of had like, kind of as we do really. We've got, the guys that you see more often when we do our education, and then you've got people that are kind of underneath, that really want to break through, that are brilliant as well. So they were always wanting the work. So if I was like, I can't do Thursday, Friday, there was always people coming in and wanting
Calvin
to do
from Clitheroe would come in.
Exactly, Calvin, a lovely guy.
Calvin, nice guy.
But so I was flying. I was loving it. I was getting paid well. The band was going well. My boss was ace.
So before we get to the barbering bit, how far did the band go there? Then from there, did you end up going any further? How did it sort of end up coming to a climax?
It came to a climax because I feel they were coming to the end of their degrees and it was make or break for them. And the two kind of guys that had always been within the band, they were like, it's make or break. And I was kind of chilled. I was just kind of, I wasn't doing enough, in my opinion, to sustain being in the band. We'd done a few amazing things, and we built so many hurdles up to then get knocked down again, and then build it up and get knocked down again. And it happens so many times, as it does in any industry. But we'd done it one too many times, and they were keen to keep going. But I was like, my mum was on my case, and she was like, "You can't do this forever." And it was very obvious to them, I think, that not that my heart wasn't in it as much as it was, because it was, I loved it. But I couldn't give as much as they were giving. So it was my time really to leave the band, and I just left myself with this teaching job, and I was like, right, I'm going to go to university, we're going to pursue this job. And I just I left the band, I was gutted. I was really, really gutted, because you're with these guys.
I've seen you still get a tear now when you see Busted, don't you?
I love Busted. I watched them fly documentary the other
When
night.
you see them fly, you still get tearful, don't you?
Of course. But I'd left the band, and it was so sad because you see these boys all the time, and then you just don't see them. It's like a breakup, but not in a bad way. We were still friends, but we just didn't see each other. And I seen them go in again, and I was like, oh.
And so, where were you then? Were you sort of
just
then,
teaching?
You're doing the teach. So, get us onto barbering now. Then, how did your path in the beautiful business of barbering start?
I had a girlfriend at the time, and I was teaching, and I just wasn't enjoying it. Now that I had nothing, it was just this teaching. I was like, where is either my band, my football? I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
So I ended up. This girl was just like, if you're not enjoying it, leave. And I was like, right, okay, I will. But I was like, I can't leave unless I've got somewhere else to go.
Yeah.
So I didn't say anything. And my mum had just kind of bought a second salon in Hoole, which is where we live. And Hoole's like beautiful.
Was that not voted the third best high street in Britain or something?
The greatest. It actually was. 2019, I think it got voted in. It's always between us and York, but it's awesome. It's a lovely little suburb. It kind of gets called Notting Hoole, if you like. Right. It's like Notting Hill. But no, it's awesome. It's lovely. And she just opened up there, and it was a gentlemanly, traditional barber shop. And it was the first time I got
the waistcoats.
The waistcoats.
No.
The very Scorum-esque, you know, the towel over the sleeves. I mean, it was the first time I looked at a barber shop and gone, wow.
Yeah.
I want to get my hair cut here. But it still wasn't a career option. I was like, it is what it is. So she was doing that we opened in 2014, and this was probably start of 2015 when I went to 2015 when I went to no, because that would have actually been earlier. Got my dates wrong before. That would have been 13. So 2015, it was our first anniversary.
Right.
And my mum was like, put the waistcoat on, come and dish out some cakes and champagne. Right. Answer the phone for us. I was like, right, okay, no problem, I will. And we were a £9 barbers. It was very reasonably priced, very, very customer service driven. Before fades were a thing. It was just about a nice, clean haircut, and we did that for a great price. And I could see the business growing, and the people loving this vibe. And I was like, Mum, I want to do a haircut. So after that night on the first anniversary of the business, I said, would you mind if I got one of my mates in for a haircut? She was like, yeah, of course. And I started anyway. She was like, right, I want you to do this, that and the other. I'm going to run to One Stop and get a couple of tins of like gin and tonic, you know, from the shop. And she was like, just do that and then I'll be back. I was like, right, okay, brilliant. And I kind of just started doing it. Just kind of, it felt natural. And not like I did a perfect haircut or nothing, but for a first attempt, it was like, you've done that on your own. Yeah. And she came back, she was like, right, so now you want to blend it in using clipper over comb and scissor over comb and trim the top. And I was like, right, I love this. I want to give this a go. Yeah. Would you take me on as your apprentice? She was like, yeah, okay, yeah, I will. I can see you fitting into this. You need a path. So here comes the dilemma. You're earning good money teaching for a 21-year-old kid. You know, you're taking maybe £500-600 a week, and you were like, yeah, that's good money. And then you've got a £120 a week apprenticeship that you want to do, but you can't really say goodbye to great money. So you're like, what are you going to do? So I decided to say to Judith, look, I want to be a barber. This is what the career path that I want to take. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give it a year, and I'm going to leave within this year. But I'm going to just cut down my hours to maybe, I think I used to do a Monday, in fact I did a Tuesday, a Wednesday and a Thursday morning. There you go again. So I did like 2.5 days teaching, which was enough to maybe give me about £200. And then I did that Monday, I did barbering Monday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Yeah. And I loved it. It was that was the best time for me, just learning, finding my feet. And
this was all in your mum's shop in Hull?
All in mum's shop in Hull, yeah. We kind of grew very quickly. I kind of got good very quickly. There was a girl going off on maternity, and everyone was like, you're going to have to be ready. So I think that was maybe like 6 months after I'd started. So within 6 months I was on the salon floor cutting, and it was great. I was loving it. I was getting all my mates in, and I kind of filled up really quickly because no one had started cutting hair yet. You know, I look now at my friendship group and lads I know my age, maybe got five or six lads my age that are cutting hair, so it was before all of them, so everyone wanted me to cut the hair, and I was full. People were queuing out the door just because of my mates.
So did you have like a large circle of friends that you were getting in as models, or how did you get that initial start to your clientele taking off?
So initially it was friendship groups. So as I say, when I went back all the way back to school, I was in so many different friendship groups and I knew so many different people. So I was just messaging people on Facebook saying, if you want a free haircut, come in and I'll trim you. And then they come in again, it'd be a £5 and then it'd be up to normal price. But it was just a way of getting people in and getting to know you. Bums on seats. And then kind of as we grew as a business and we kind of got maybe a couple more lads in and we're starting to create an image for this shop now. I used to just go out to student night in Chester on my own, completely sober, in my car with, I remember the jacket, it had like a little zipper here and it had all my business cards.
I thought you were going to say something else then.
Well, I used to give the student cards to the cards to students in the nightclubs, and I'd be like, "How much do you pay? I'd love to cut your hair. You've got class hair. Tell you what, there's my Instagram. Message me, and I'll sort you a cheap haircut." And they'd be thinking they'd be getting in at like Chester's best barber shop for a fraction of the price.
Yeah.
When all it was me just lagging people. You know what I mean? At the time, and all of a sudden you start posting on social media. Instagram had just got cool, and I'm posting saying how I'm fully booked, even though I wasn't even doing bookings. But people were like, "You're doing well," and then the shop was doing really well. We started getting a little bit of a queue, so we had the long bench, and then the queue was out the door. I mean, Saturday mornings we used to do these videos where we used to open the door, and the queue, mate, I tell you, there was 30 people, and they used to just all walk in. They used to shake every single person's hand. They used to sit in, and then when the queue was there, that's it. But at that point, it was obvious that a lot of the queue were going, "I'll hang on for him. I'll hang on for him." So I just seen what it was like to get bookings. So I went online. I thought, I don't want to be in control of this, manually booking people in.
Yeah.
And I think Booksy had just became a thing, and I downloaded the app and I kind of was like, "Oh, this is great.
Right.
I'll use this." And then I did it for about 3 days, booked people in just on Friday, Saturdays.
Yeah.
And then I got a phone call off, I can't remember, I think his name was Jason, the original guy. And he rang me and he was like, "You do know you've got to pay for this?" I was like, "Have you?" So I went straight to Mum and I was like, "Right, I need this."
Appointment system
For just for me. And it doesn't cost that, I think it was about 30 quid or something like that. And obviously I was loving it and it just shut off.
Yeah.
And my bookings are full and we grew the days and days and days. But that was amazing. That was kind of like internal. That was internal.
That was that first shop in Hoole.
Yeah.
So when did you sort of decide, because you've sort of gone from going to work there and just starting to do haircuts, when did you decide that you really want to get serious about barbering, and when you thought, listen, I don't want to just do regular haircuts, I want to perfect what I'm doing and be as good as possible?
See, well, this is where you come into the story.
Right.
Right from the beginning, my mum always wants the best for me, and I remember I was just sat up on my laptop dead late at night. Hamster.com. And a message popped through on my Facebook, and it was off my mum, and she was like, "Have you seen this?" And I was like, "What?" So this was obviously a year after 2016. Gary Spencer from the Great British Barber Bash is looking for 10 lucky people to come and help out at Score and Boozing, whatever it was called, Misbehaving.
That was actually, do you know what, funny you should say that, because that's just come up on my memories today.
No
5
way.
years ago was when I promoted that, Score for the first time in UK.
And what a show it was. So and you'd included in the message something like, "Tell us why you deserve to be doing this." And at the time I was doing a lot of haircuts for the homeless. That was my thing. It was go out, and I wrote this big long message. I sent it to my mum, and then she sent it back to me, spell checked and everything, and I sent it off to you. And then the next day, the phone rings. It was you on the phone. It was like, "Hi, it's Gary," and I was like, "Oh, I want to invite you down to come and help." And it was like, "Come on!"
Yeah.
And that was my first sighting of the Great British Barber Bash.
Right.
And from there, I put myself straight on the Sid Sotton course at Voodoo in Liverpool. I attended. I wasn't good at all at that point at cutting hair. I couldn't do a skin fade. I was just doing short back and sides, rounded necks. And I seen Sid cut and I was like, "Wow, you've got it. You have it." And then I came away from that. It was amazing. And then Mark will tell you a great story. I was because I just had my first tattoos done, or I'd had this one done.
I remember you having that tattoo. I remember you first coming on the Sitton thing, walking down the street going, "Hi, who the hell's this? Who the hell's this?" And it was like,
show me.
Do you know him? And then you had a long coat on. Then you had one of those like trench coats or something.
I had a trench coat on with a red and black striped shirt.
And I remember you sort of really trying really hard on the course. What was it like? What was the Sitton course like? You like because he's very sort of Vidal Sassoon and very classical kind of.
Looking back. I didn't have a clue.
It doesn't matter, does it? As long as you're there.
But it didn't give me, at the time, because of my level, it didn't give me physical knowledge. It gave me motivation. It gave me the drive, and it gave me a vision into what I wanted originally from hair when I was a hairdresser, which I didn't get. I was getting at 47 because it was amazing, when I was around the boys and it was fashion. It wasn't that granny salon I was in, but I was getting excited. Yeah. I got excited I was waking up early.
Well, do you not think that's what sort of courses can do for you? I'm not talking about our course, but course in general.
Of course.
When you go and see people that you aspire to be like, and again, it could be if you're playing a sport and you go and play with somebody who's better than you.
You've got to ask
motivates you, doesn't it?
You've got to ask yourself the question, we hear it all the time, I've been cutting hair 30 years, what are you going to teach me?
Yeah.
And you're like, it's not what I can teach you, it's how you leave. It's how you leave that course with a sense of desire. And I'll be very honest, everyone goes through that part in the career where they just go, I'm not enjoying myself. I don't enjoy it. But that's what this is for. It gives you a revamp, it gives you a new sense of personality. And that's what it did for me. And I did a few more courses in between. I think who
else did you do?
I did Alan and Reese.
How was that? Because I'm actually meeting up with Alan.
Oh yeah,
doing that. He's somebody I'm going to be speaking to probably in the next week or so. Well, how did you like that course? What was that like? Alan
was the first modern barber that I'd met, and he was well cool at the time. I remember thinking, you've got it, you have it. And Yusa came up and said, do you want your hair cut by Alan, or do you want to wait till next? Because this was a week before Scorum, I think. And or do you want to wait till Scorum? And I had never heard of Alan and Reese, but I'd heard of Scorum, and I was like, I really want Scorum to cut my hair. Looking back, I would have much preferred Alan to cut my hair. Right. I love Alan's work, and it much more suited my image at the time. But I went on the course; it was amazing, and I still remember Reese did a taper, and it was all about keeping the waist in the corners, and it was very arched, concave, and that's what I took from that course. Tapers, and that's what I remember adding an extra £1.50, saying to people, "Do you want the fade at the back of the neck?" Because people didn't want the skin fade; they wanted the two with the nice edges, and that I got a lot from that course. And then the following week was the Scorum.
Yes.
And it was a build up. It was a whole day thing. It was Pro Hair Live in the day, and we were kind of assisting. There was 10 people. The only other person I remember from that actually made themselves known was a girl with blonde hair. And
I can't remember.
I remember your wife Nikki coming up to us and saying, "You two are working really hard. There's a set of Andy's clippers each," and I was like, "Come on!" US Pros in red in the case. I've still got them at home.
Get them on eBay, mate. You get 20 quid for that. It's off your wardrobe.
And I think obviously working with Nick, you were obviously working around doing your thing on the stage and working with the barbers, and I was working a lot with Nikki, and I think she trusted me straight away. Yeah. And she was like, "I've got to go. Would you mind looking after the money?" And I was like, "Of course I'll look after the money, no problem." And there was instantly that trust. And I remember saying to you came up to me, you put your arm around me, you were sweating. Like Prince William.
Aspiring. Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew stands up there, don't sweat. You're like, "We've got to do this again, haven't we?" I was like, "Yeah, we'll do it again. And I think the next one was Belfast.
Right, yeah.
And I got playing with Liam Twist at the time when he was doing a bit with us, and flew over and did it again. Just helped on the scissor stand, and I loved it. And them few years of just helping was just brilliant, because it allowed me to see so much and grow without kind of doing anything, I suppose. I mean, I remember pecking your head so much, saying, "When are you going to let me cut?" Yeah. And at the time, you were very knowledgeable. You were saying, "You're not quite ready." And in my head, I'm thinking, fucking ready.
Yeah.
I want to do
and
it.
you are used to getting your own way, aren't you? Being
Of
an way
course.
you are with your mother.
But I wanted to do it.
Mum, Gary says.
But anyway, time had passed, and I think that the first one I couldn't do was the first ever one in London. I think I was on holiday or something, and we kind of lost contact, you and I. We just
Well, I changed my number.
You changed your number. You ran away from me.
Started calling myself Clinton Baptiste, just to get away from you.
Is there a John?
But no, I mean, listen, on that thing, I mean, it was sort of serendipitous and fortunate that sort of you came along at that time. Just how do you feel that sort of impacted your sort of career choice, going to that Scorum event and getting involved with that stuff? Do you think that sort of has made you go on to do what you're doing now, or do you think you'd have kept on with the barbering?
I mean, I do think I would have kept on with the barbering. I mean, obviously now, within the past year, there's been this massive boom of educators, hasn't there? Everyone thinks it's like the pinnacle of being a barber is like, if you're a good barber, you're an educator. It's not necessarily the fact of the matter. It's you're an educator because you enjoy seeing people grow. You know, you want to cut like somebody, that's cool, but maybe that individual isn't an educator. I've always found myself being an educator. It doesn't matter what the field is. I've always thought that maybe I can boost somebody else up and we can do it together. We can grow something together, and that's what I really, really enjoy. You know, when we do it on weekends, it's great.
And what I mean on that point, which you're just saying, that I think probably 2 years ago, you had a lot of people around sort of saying, I'm going to do a look and learn because I'm really good at fading, and then you see them doing these look and learns, and there's 5 guys stood around watching them doing it. But were they actually being able to talk about what they were doing?
Exactly.
It's like being a fantastic plumber or a fantastic mechanic. It doesn't mean you can go to college and explain what you're doing to somebody.
Exactly, it's a different skill.
And I think, like with you, what's so good about the way you do it, and people like Alan Beak as well, and Hayden Cassidy, and a lot of the people we work with, it's been able to keep people's attention for 3 hours.
Of course.
And being able to talk and get over verbally what you're actually doing with your hands. It's not the easiest thing to do,
not
is it?
at all, not at all. I mean, it's so hard anyway to concentrate on what you're doing with your cutting and communicate with your client.
Yeah.
To try and do that over an hour and a half whilst communicating everything you're doing and engaging and being fun and it not being a boring environment. You want it to be fun and exciting, you know, so that was kind of that. But from there, anyway, we kind of lost contact not through any negativity, was it? It was just, there was loads of people doing what I could do, and I wasn't, you know, very good at cutting hair at that point. But I went away and I remember saying to myself, I really want to get good at cutting hair, so I upped my hours in work. I did like 6 days a week, practicing, learning, doing photo shoots, and there was MHF competition, English Apprentice Barber of the Year. I thought, I'm going to do that, but I entered it. I won, which was awesome. I got to meet people like Des Murray, who did a photo shoot for us, was class. And then out of the blue, you rang me and you were like, I want to do something in Chester.
Right.
I think you had your first barber coming over doing a barber jam, and I think it was Diego. And you're like, I want to do one. Would you be up for doing it? I was like, of course I'll do it. Yeah. And by the way, if you ever need anyone to do a bit of education with you, I'm free. And I think you just went, I tell you what, just had someone cancel on me. And would you mind going to Newcastle tomorrow? And I was like, of course I will. I mean, going all the way back, I'd gone with you a few times, you know, with
Alan Reese, we went to Blackpool, didn't we? And
we went to Stirling with Paisley, with
the
Darren.
Slicks guys.
Yeah, and all the team. I've done a few little bits, you know, just like one-to-one in people.
Well, that was it. You were sort of helping out all the time. You were really eager to get involved, but I was just hesitant to let you.
Well, I wasn't ready.
That's right.
And maybe a year or two later, you were like, tell you what, someone's just cancelled. And I can't remember, or maybe you thought you could do with an extra hand.
Newcastle
College, it was me, Tom Baxter, and I can't remember.
Was it Andy Tuff or one of the
Paul Barber Code it was. Paul Barber Code and somebody else. I can't remember who that somebody else was. Could have been Andy Tuff.
Yes.
But I don't think it was. And we done the daytime thing, and then you were like, tell you what, there's an extra barber chair, why don't you go on at night as well and do the big show? And I remember I did this purple crop. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And you know, looking back, that was the turning point. And then after then, you were like, right, I've got a few dates for you.
Yeah.
And then
because you were cheap.
I was cheap. I was. But no, I loved it, and I started, really enjoying the education. We did more, and it probably went from that first year maybe doing 8 shows with you to the following year doing 20 shows with you, and then the year after that doing 50 shows with you, and now it's grown and grown and grown, and we're almost at this next level of education, which is not just what people have kind of been going on that 1-day workshop, haven't they, for a long time. We've kind of have grown that now to a 2-day. We're now looking at doing the virtual stuff, which I know we'll come on to in a minute. And it's just been, what a journey, you know what I mean? And although your feet do smell in the car sometimes, I do like you.
What would you say you get out of doing the education? I mean, obviously people come on courses and you do get a lot of very nice comments, and people come back several times. We've got one girl, Tara, this year, who's come back I think 4 times, which is fantastic. But what do you still get out of doing the education? I
mean, I'll be very honest. When I first started doing it, it was all about me. I mean, as you do, it's your first time doing something like that, and it was like, okay, hiya, and just putting it on my Instagram was everything. Posting constantly, look where I am.
You've got a bit of an ego thing out of it as well.
I loved it. It was the first time I'd probably internally felt like I was doing something of a grander scale. And as time has progressed, obviously that changes. It's less about yourself and more about the students and about them coming on the course and leaving happy, leaving motivated, leaving with different knowledge, and that's what I kind of get out of it, really. It's a great way to spend your weekend in a different city that you wouldn't. When would you be in? If I said to you, let's go to Dundee, would you go? You probably wouldn't. But now that I've been to Dundee, what a city! When we were walking around, I was like, this is brilliant. What an awesome place to be. But I wouldn't have gone if I hadn't have been.
So you see so many places.
You see so many places, and we've been to Malta, we've been to Yeovil,
and you've still been to Ellesmere Port.
And I've still been to Ellesmere Port and gigged there.
You can't take that away from me.
But as it comes, it changes. It's been a big circle, if you like. It's all about you. And
it's a circle of life.
And then it comes back around, and it's all about the delivery and perfecting your delivery, if you like, because you get more picky about yourself. It used to just be about turn up, do it. Now it's like, I could have said that better, I could have worded it better, and you almost have a script, if you like, of what's to talk about,
So what would you say, if somebody was to ask you the question, what makes a good educator, what would you say are maybe the key components of, being good at it?
Well, that's an easy one. It's a bucket full of knowledge. Someone that can explain and that can say what it is, how you do it, and why you do it. You need to have all 3. You can't just say, I'm using the guard skipping method. You need to say what the guard skipping method is. You need to say why you're going to use the guard skipping method and how you're going to do it. It's so vast. So it's a bucket full of knowledge. You need to be fun. Because people don't want to sit there and watch someone. I mean, the people
laborious.
It's not what you want. You want a fun, active atmosphere. You need to be great with your body language. You need to be really, really fun with your hands, because it's been proven that the more you use your body to communicate, the more people take in. So you need to be in control of your body, and you need to be able to work, God send, as many hours as you can, because I know most people are barbers. Our barbers we're not 35-hour-a-week jobs, we were 45 to 50-hour-a-week jobs, and then you need to be able to push in that extra social media effort. You need to be able to go away on weekends, you need to be able to do this, that and the other. So that for me is kind of like your gumbo pot.
The gumbo pot, I like that.
That's what you need to kind of circulate everything and just be approachable. Just generally be a nice person and have a genuine understanding that you're here, and the people that you're educating maybe aren't where you are, but they want to be. And, you need to be patient. You need to have time for them, because they've got genuine questions that they want to ask you. And you need to be able to give them the time of day in both sides, not just your demonstration, but in the practical side as well.
So going on to where we're going in the future, the next sort of step for us, obviously, we're going to continue with our workshops. We're booked up every week and what have you. We're going to get back to our shows hopefully this year. But one of the main things that we're launching now is our Barber Club, which is our weekly subscribe to club, where you're going to be doing a lot of live visual sort of presentations, look and learns if you like. Tell us a little bit more about that and where you see that going, and why is it important that we do this sort of online education?
Of course, I mean, for us, we are a small entity of people. We can't be everywhere all of the time. Just this morning, in fact, this rang so many alarm bells in my head this morning. Just had a message from a guy in Malta. He's like, "Hey, do you do virtual education?" I was like, "Of course." And that's what we're doing it for. We've got people all around the world that want us, but we can't be there all of the time.
Because you're in Ellesmere Port.
Exactly. So it's going to be a great way to connect us to the world, and you know, not everyone is able to come on a course, be able to afford a course. So virtual education and our Barber Club is going to be a great affordable way of growing the industry and growing a collection of barbers that don't just want to be a Tom, Dick and Harry. They don't just want to be a one-trick pony. They want to be able to grow and they want to be able to gain the motivation. I mean, I know when everyone has started doing the offline video here and there, I tune in because I'm interested. I want to do it, and if I want to do it, I know other people are in the same boat. They're going to want to grow as well.
Like you said before, I mean, we go in like phases of loving our job and sometimes maybe not loving as much. It's important to stay motivated, isn't it? It's important to keep that sort of enthusiasm level up and that energy level up. You produce better quality work, you can charge more by producing better quality work.
Exactly.
The whole thing works better, doesn't it?
And the great bonus to what we're going to be doing is it's going to be live. So it's almost like you're in the room. You are able to ask questions. It's not just a recorded video that we put up and say, there you go.
Yeah.
It's going to be live, so people can ask questions. They can see the time frames. They can see actually how I do it rather than cutting between certain bits. You know, like when I post on my Instagram and I maybe post a process, I'll probably only do 5% of it on camera. You know, they're going to see everything, and that's the raw part of it. You know, they're going to be able to fully understand and ask questions.
Yeah, exactly. So the format basically is going to be an hour and a half or so, an hour and something presentation once a week. You subscribe to it, it's about £5. It's nothing. It's the price of a McDonald's or something. But will people still get it, even though sort of the demonstration is being done? Will they be able to ask the questions they want and sort of get the feedback from you?
Of course. You know, I'm always an open book. You know, if anyone ever wants to send me a message, they are more than welcome to just pop up and send me a message. But the great thing is I'm there and then. You know, I'll have the clippers in my hand and I'll be able to say, let's do this. If you want to know that, let's do it this week. Or if anyone wants to bang something in the group and say, I really, Ollie, want to work on longer hair.
Yeah.
Or I really want to work on design work.
Yeah.
Let's do it. Let's make it happen.
Or I want to sing some songs from musicals that we used to do.
That's another story, but we won't talk about that tonight.
So listen, we're going to come to the end of our little conversation. I'm sure we're going to be doing another one of these soon, but just the last couple of questions. The first one I wanted to get in before we finish is, if there's like young barbers out there, what would be your advice to them if they eventually want to be doing what you're doing now? What are the fundamentals to get you to your level?
This is where I'm going to go praise the baby Jesus.
Praise baby Jesus for giving me the breath in my lungs.
In all honesty, it's just time. Time is the answer to everything. We can't have it all of the time, but you need to give as much as you possibly can. Watch videos, do as much as you can, seek from the people you want to seek from, and just generally be there. Attend courses, make yourself known, message the people. You know, I could tell you probably about the 100 so messages I get every 2 weeks or every month or however many people. I could tell you the top 3 that message me all of the time because they want to know, and I know who they are.
Yeah.
But you know, they're
so getting to know you. You know, reaching out is so important.
And you know, we're not anyone. You know, we're barbers, and we love our craft, and we want to help other people. So just generally reach out, be there, do as much as you possibly can, and step outside of the box. If you're not quite comfortable doing something yet, have a go. Because if you don't have a go, you're not going to be able to grow. I could tell you every single mistake I've made in my career, but I couldn't tell you every single success.
Right.
You know, because you always remember the negatives, you remember the bad reviews, you remember the knockbacks, you remember the setbacks, you remember the things you lost, you remember the arguments, but you don't remember every single bit of success you had to grow you. That's because the negatives are pushing you up. You know, it's a learning curve. So make mistakes. That's probably the biggest. That's probably the biggest. Is make as many mistakes as you can, because mistakes grow. You know.
Yeah. What about being positive and sort of, you know, how important is that? Because we do see a lot of negativity sometimes on social media, and especially with younger barbers, they'll post haircuts, and sometimes they can get good sort of support. Sometimes they get quite nasty comments. I mean, how do you feel about that kind of thing that goes on in our industry of barbering?
I have to bite my tongue on things like that. You know, I don't see it as much on Instagram. I see it in the Facebook groups. You know, like the barber clubs, and you know, there's just people that just want to get something in to make a point to bring them above. You don't have to. You just praise the people and say that is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Build them up as a person, because if you're not building people up, you're putting them down. If they ask for constructive criticism personally, by all means, say what you would do differently, but it's a different take on a different thing. So try and just be as positive as you can, and if people do try and knock you back, don't let it build you up, because it's you're taking advice from people that clearly don't want to give good advice. They want to make themselves seem better.
They're not trying to enhance you, are they?
Exactly.
Some people, we all know now, don't we, that people who people who are negative are normally doing it because they're not happy with themselves.
Exactly.
And some people are just there just to put a negative on things.
100%.
So it's so important to stay positive. Right, our last question before we finish off. We could talk all day, but give us a little idea of what you can do over the next 3 to 5 years. Where's Ollie Foster over the next 3 to 5?
I've just launched my OnlyFans.
Yeah, I've seen that. I haven't subscribed. I've been barred me on the credit card.
No, 3 to 5 years. That's a good question. So within personally, I'd love to grow 47. My personal business that me and Lynn run. We've got a great set of staff. We've got Brad, Scott, James. We've got a great team. Billy and all the boys there as well. We've got a class team of people that really believe in the business, and we want to grow it as well as we can. So that's one thing I'd like to do.
Do you see more salons, or do you ever see franchising? Do you ever see the lads taking a franchise of 47?
100%. I would love to see that happen one day. It's just when the time's right and when our knowledge is...
Mc47.
You're buzzing on this McFly thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'd love to see the business grow like that, 100%. It's just when they're ready, when we're ready, and it doesn't take 2 minutes to ask the question, you know, we can look into it. But that within the business, within our education, I just think we're going to go from strength to strength. I would love to see us go more international. I would love to see us do some stuff abroad. Seeing some more amazing places.
Not forgetting Ellesmere Port.
Vauxhall Social Club.
Not
I was there first time, we'll be there the last time. But yeah, just I'd love to do more. I'd love to go to more exotic places. I would love to see, you know, personal goals is different to barbering goals. I would love to move to a nicer house. I would love to grow my house, grow my family. That's kind of about it, really.
Yeah.
Grow my muscles.
Why not? Well, listen, we're going to be doing loads to it. I've actually got a few new irons in the fire for New Year. We're looking at going to Italy. We're probably going to go back to Spain. We're talking to somebody in America at the moment. So loads of things happening there. The Barber Club is going to be rocking and rolling for the beginning of 2021.
Yeah.
We're always free for education, wherever that might be. But listen, I just want to say thank you for being my guest today and having a good chat. Love you lots. You do a great job. I think you're a fantastic educator. And you've got a great story to tell as well, which is fantastic.
Thank you so much.
Come back again and talk to me like this again, because I like it. But Ollie, thank you.
Thank you everyone for watching.